sword in hand, heart beating 100 times a minute, sun shining down, facing challenge after challenge, not knowing next one will be your last. That is the way of the gladiator. Now, the gladiator is one of the most significant parts of the Roman Colosseum, and in fact, it almost defines it. What is the Colosseum? Well, to explain that, it takes 3 easy steps. Why it was built, what events went on, and why it still exists today. The Roman Colosseum all started in AD 65 under the rule of Emperor Vespasian. Now, Vespasian was not in good terms with the people. The people weren't so happy, mostly because economically they weren't as great as they used to be. And Vespasian was a very unlucky ruler, since that he just entered the throne after a great fire took out a big part of Rome. So in order to get back on good terms with the people, Vespasian started on a project, the Colosseum. Now, Vespasian would not make it to the end of this construction. His son Titus, who from AD 70 to AD 80 will actually see the whole thing playing out, and at the very end, he holds a ceremony for his dead father. Now, the thing about the Colosseum that was really great is that it was the largest structure of its time. No other structure like it existed. It had 50,000 seats, it had 80 entrances. Not only that, but it had a complex passageway system underneath, and the floor was made of wood, which then was kind of our equivalent to marble. Though they covered it with sand so people could cushion their feet on. The Colosseum itself didn't start off as a gladiator event. It actually was more of a theater where tragedies and other sort of what we call comedies today were played as. Gladiators were mostly prisoners of war, anybody that wasn't of the Roman religion, and to brave fighters who actually joined the free will, and they were trained in schools called lydices. And what's so significant about the Colosseum is that they would sometimes dress up these gladiators in soldiers' uniforms and have them reenact battles, going so far as they would flood the Colosseum itself to the point of reenacting ship battles. And the gladiators would actually fight to the death. But the only way a gladiator wouldn't die is either a pardon from the emperor, which was a thumbs up, or the people would always shake white handkerchiefs out. Though if the emperor gave out a thumbs down, and the people gave out a thumbs down, then that gladiator will meet his untimely end. Now, Christianity started becoming big around AD 400. And by that time, around AD 404, gladiator was considered inhumane. And by this time, some almost 9,000 animals had been executed. Now, in AD 523, they finally stopped slaughtering animals, seeing how, at that time, the lions, the wild lions they had around Rome, were starting to become extinct. So eventually the Colosseum will fall apart, and time will slowly degrade it to the point where Pope Nicholas I used 2,000 cartloads of taking down its bricks and used it to make other buildings because he saw there's no point in having it anymore. Because at that time the Colosseum was more of a storage base than from its great time of being a great tragedy, a great comedy, or even a great battle that everyone could see. But the Colosseum was not taken care of at all. And it wasn't really appreciated until the 19th century, where then it was considered one of the modern world's greatest architecture. So around 1995, they started rebuilding this structure. That's when the process of keeping it from going any further down the hill. But at that time, 1995, the structure was only 15% of what it originally was. Restoration stopped around 10 years ago, though still continues today, but very steadily, now holding up at 85% restored. But in the only events so far in the past 1,500 years that have happened at the Colosseum have been 3 tragedies. So, the Colosseum was one of the greatest, magnificent features of this world. And now, what the people